Happy Wednesday morning to you. CrossPoint, trust that you are well, resting in Jesus, looking to Him for support and identity and affirmation, looking to any other person or system for those things can prove catastrophic. But let's just pause right here, wherever you're watching this video, at home, at work, on break, driving, listening to it. Let's just pause and say, Lord, take this moment, take this video, take this time, and make much of it. But trust that you're in a good place, and if not, that you're getting there right now. So it's good to be with you. Unfortunately, I am not at Myrtle Beach right now. We had so much fun. It was fantastic. Back in the groove, back in the action, back in the grind, so to speak. So just a couple things want to run by you. Adult Sunday school class will be starting the Sunday after Labor Day. Okay, the Sunday after Labor Day. So Tom Brennan will be taking care of that. He'll be presiding, and the method is very simple. In that class, just read through the Bible, talk about it, and that's kind of the baseline. Now, every now and then, we might go in a different direction, but that's kind of the baseline for that class. Children and youth will not be starting up. So just a little word on that. So before COVID was here, the attendance for Sunday school for teens and kids was very low. One common denominator was my family. I mean, we always go and we were always there. But aside from that, it was not well attended on the balance. And so what we did is we actually polled families with youth and kids and got a fairly lackluster response to being interested in something for that hour. I can't prove it. I think some of it has to be, I don't know. It is what it is. So I would like to, I'm going to say I would like in the future for that to shift. But what we don't want to do is build up a bunch of infrastructure and then like no one's coming. And I've been in ministry 12 to 14, almost 15 years now. And I've attended and been part of a lot of prayer meetings and Sunday schools and all of that. And it's kind of like, if you're the only one showing up, it's like, okay. But I don't know. It is what it is. But that's kind of where we're at. The men's Bible study will be starting up as well after Labor Day weekend. Look for an email from Bart Grassi, but the men's Bible study is 7 to 8 every Tuesday morning, and it's for men who want to get into the Word. It's a great accountability group. There's a lot of wisdom slung around in that group, and it is definitely men. So men's Bible study. So yeah, that's kind of that. So I don't think, in the back of my mind there's something else, but it's not coming. So I think those are the main things. I wanted to share with you a story from 1 Chronicles chapter 12. Now, let me kind of set it up for us. I've been reading the Bible through for years. I always like those passages in the historical books, 1 2 Samuel, 1 2 Kings, 1 2 Chronicles. Those are part of the historical books that talk about David's mighty men and the soldiers that gathered around him. I found the prayer of Jabez before it ever got popular when I was like a teenager. I've said that before, but there's some really cool stuff buried in the Chronicles, and specifically 1 Chronicles chapter 12. Let me read this for us and just sit back and listen here. It's describing the men that gathered around King David before he was king. Okay, verse 8, 1 Chronicles 12 starts out, it says, from the Gadites, just pause, the Gadites, the tribe of Gad. You hardly hear anything about the tribe of Gad. Did you even know they were one of the 12 tribes? Yeah. From the Gadites, there went over to David at the stronghold in the wilderness, mighty and experienced warriors, expert with shield and spear, whose faces were like the faces of lions, and who were swift as gazelles upon the mountains. It lists some names. I'm not going to try to pronounce those off the cuff here. But verse 14, these Gadites were officers of the army. The least was a match for 100 men, and the greatest for 1,000. These are the men who crossed the Jordan in the first month when it was overflowing all its banks, and put to flight all those in the valleys to the east and to the west. Amazing, amazing detail. Crossing the Jordan when it was overflowing. You know, I've swam in rivers and lakes, but apparently when it's flooding in the springtime, it's got an incredibly strong current, the Jordan does. You don't want to cross during that time, but these guys did. And expert warriors, the kind of men you would want to have on your team. You get the idea, these were battle-hardened veterans who could fight and weren't the kind to run in the day of trouble, but they, you know, would plant their feet and would fight. And so even as I'm talking like this, for the ladies, the Christian sisters that are joining in, because sometimes wonder, I know what that language does to me. I read that, I'm like, man, I want to go fight. I want to be a soldier for Jesus that shows up and that's dependable and that he can rely upon to advance his interests. And so for women, it's the same. I think we all have the same desires. That language might not be the most fitting. For a young man, perhaps you hear this, you're like, man, I'm going to go to the gym, I'm going to pump iron, I'm going to get big. It's like, well, okay. It might be good if you're 400 to 500 pounds maybe and go in the gym and fight the battles. But for the most part, most of us are not in the military, right? We're not shooting guns and playing with ammo as our job, and so it's literally not the case that we are literal soldiers in an army. But it is the case that we are stationed where we're at as representatives of the Master, and it is true that we have assignments to carry out on his behalf, not our own behalf. We have marching orders from him. We're stationed at different places. All of you, whoever listens into this and wherever you're at, you have an assignment, you have objectives, you have directives from the Master to carry out. So I want to encourage us to view ourselves in that way as soldiers, as highly trained, battle-hardened warriors who represent Jesus and who flock to him, who can be depended upon to work and to serve and to express his interests without him having to check in on us every single day. Now, I bet a lot of you who are listening to this have led initiatives at home, at the job site, in your workplace, or even in a ministry setting, and you know, okay, just being frank, anyone who has ever led, you know, sometimes you got people, you really do need to check in on them, like all the time. And sometimes it's a maturity issue, sometimes it's not. Sometimes it's just not thinking. So speaking frank, I don't want Jesus. I want to be faithful and loyal to him. I want to be a warrior that can put 1,000 to flight. Someone over which he can speak that kind of affirmation. Now, make no mistake, I'm secure in him. I'm not looking to my, and neither should you. We don't look to our exploits for identity, but we do want to be faithful and loyal to him. So I've written up a little statement here. If the writer of 1 Chronicles were alive and he were recording the chronicles of the Church of CrossPoint, this is what I would like for him to write. Okay, listen up. Here we go. The people of CrossPoint were known for their fierce loyalty to Jesus, especially during the opening chaotic days of the third millennium. They were resolute in their imitation of their Master. They pressed forward with love for one another. They did not yield to bickering and division. They diligently ministered to each other. They diligently invested in discipleship and in raising up the next generation of leadership. They focused on loving the people around them. They did outreach in parks, and they visited people in their homes, sharing the love of Jesus, and they reached out to the foreigners among them. They gave generously, and they loved widely, and the Master approved of them, for they were very dependable soldiers. There. That's 3 Chronicles chapter 1, first few verses there. So Just trying to speak a little bit of vision over you, cross-pointers, wherever you're at. So let me pronounce a blessing over you, okay? The Lord bless you and keep you. The Lord make his face shine upon you and be gracious to you. The Lord make his face shine upon you and give you peace. Amen.